Hello all, and welcome to Hockey on Tap podcast. This is episode 57, Party in the Barn. I am your host, Bill Dean. I'm here, of course, with my three co-hosts, Schwim, Steve, and Sam Wu, who is behind the curtain. We're brought to you by Sam and Primetime Radio. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Please leave us a 5-star review if you'd be so kind. Boys, what are we drinking?
In honor of mandates and opening up and all that other stuff of COVID garbage, I am going to drink my last social distancing from Icarus Brewing Company that they brewed specifically for this, obviously, because of the name. Double IPA by Icarus. I'm pretty sure I drank this on the podcast when it was released back in October. So what are we like? Well, we're approaching a year, I guess, sort of. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's what I'm drinking, guys. I don't have much to say about it.
My turn. I'm drinking something by Untitled Art. It's Peach Melba Sour a la Mode.
Melba.
I don't know what that means.
Nice Melba.
It's a Berliner style Weiss ale brewed with peach, raspberry.
Seinfeld, Mulva.
Mulva is her name.
Isn't
Red
Melba
currant and cinnamon.
Isn't Melba a bread?
Okay. Peach bread sour?
Well,
I don't know.
It's peach bread, but
Well, you just said, isn't Melba bread?
You know,
Anywho,
I know that pretzels are not bread.
and we have pretzels over here, finally, to go along with our beers.
Here.
But
Melba.
yeah, Untitled Art, I don't know. It's got a pretty high rating, so we'll see.
Oh, Melba toast. Melba is a
So it
toast.
is bread?
Dry,
Okay.
crisp, and thinly sliced toast, often served with soup and salad, topped with either melted cheese or pâté. It is named after Dame Nellie Melba, the stage name of Australian opera singer Helen Porter Mitchell. Melba toast is made by lightly toasting slices of bread under a grill on both sides.
Why didn't you just like
So that
make
was-
stuff up?
That was your,
Plain.
fact of the day. Melba toast.
Nice. Oh man, it smells awesome.
Now we learned
Oh,
what Melba is.
Yeah, delicious Melba.
Your turn.
That does smell pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going for a twofer,
man.
and I'll tell you the story just after this. So I'm going to go with Dogfish Mango Smoothie. I have not tried it yet, but we'll see how it goes.
You
And
literally
then-
drink lactose on every podcast.
This is lactose? in this
Everyone. Yes. Mim's on the prowl for something right now.
one? Really? I probably do drink it pretty much. It doesn't say what it's on it, but of course that figures.
It's in
right?
it. I
Yeah.
know it. I know my dogfish.
So I'm going to go from lactose to a New England Brewing Co. Fuzzy Baby Ducks.
Okay.
Fuzzy Baby
How
Ducks.
cute.
And the best part about this is the photo on the can. It
It is
is a unicorn
Fuzzy baby duck.
shitting out a rainbow with ducks flying down the shit rainbow.
Nice.
Yeah. So just a unicorn farting out a rainbow and then ducks just slide down the stream.
It's for kids and adults.
Yes. All right. So I wanted to. We'll get to my day just in a second. But Schwim, your mom says hi, so I just wanted to tell you that.
I meant
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. No. I was talking today. I'm obviously going. As you can see behind me, I am moving to a new home. I will not tell
Empty.
you guys
You're in
what
an
it
empty
is
room.
because I don't want Schwim to come and see me. But I am going to a new home. It's I'm destroying my place right now, painting up spackle holes or
I want to say the reason why he can't tell anybody doesn't have anything to do with winning that lottery to go into space with Jeff Bezos. I just want to assure you all that he
Yes,
is
I did
not
not-
the winner.
No, I did not. I would not want to go
You would
anywhere
tell
near
us
Jeff
if you
Bezos.
want, right?
Yeah, I
tell us,
might
right?
tell you. So I had to put
He's
some
moving
hockey
to
things in
space.
here. So I have my Rangers
well.
stool.
Curious.
It's a pair of hockey
There it
skates with 2 legs in this thing. And then I was showing Schwim this before, but this is an old hockey relic that I stole or didn't steal. The neighbor in Weehawken when I lived there gave me this. It's by Blatz. It's actually a beer bottle from Blatz, and they made it into a hockey skater and draft brewed Blatz.
Where does his arm go?
Milwaukee's
I was saying he's got
finest
an arm
beer.
off.
I don't know.
Somebody
He's-
cut it
yeah,
off in a skate-related
yeah.
incident.
Yeah, as you can see, the skates.
Was it
This thing
Matt
smells old, and it is old. Yeah,
I don't
probably
think
was
Matt Cook
Matt
didn't
Cook.
cut anybody with a skate, did he?
I thought he cut what's his face's like tendon.
Carlson?
Yeah.
Was that accidental? Obviously.
Yeah, supposed to be.
No, I thought he brought his like foot up and like jammed into the back of his leg.
No, I mean, he didn't get penalized or anything for it. He said he didn't mean to do it. It looked like it could have gone either way. So
How long ago was that?
And then
back when Matt Cook was playing
so I funny story. So I have
on the Penguins.
lovely day at work. Just awesome. A lot of stuff going on. And of course it's just fantastic. And
Sounds sarcastic.
so yeah. And so I drop off my little daughter, Sarah, at Camp Grandma Grandpa, and I go to pick her up at 4:00. So I get stuck in traffic going up there, so I'm a little late. I get her there around 5:30, and she gets fed on the clock at 3, 6, and 9. So if you hit that 6 o'clock threshold and she doesn't have a bottle in her mouth, you're in deep shit.
Just like
So-
Chad.
She's angrier than Dean.
No. I don't get hangry. That's not me. My wife gets hangry and real bad.
I definitely get
I'm
hangry.
sure she doesn't comment on this, but anyway. So I'm driving back with her. It's like 5:30. It's like 5:40. I know I'm screwed right away. The moment I put her in her seat as we leave, she spits her woo out, her pacifier, and she starts bawling her eyes out. And I'm like, all right, great. 35 minutes straight of her screaming at the top of her lungs, just enjoying the road trip, right? So I'm flying down 287. I'm going about 80 miles an hour. And of course, I'm trying to get home as quick as possible because I know that, Godzilla's in the back and she's going to kill me. So I'm driving, and out of the second lane, I'm in the fast lane. Out of the second lane comes a driver right in front of me, cuts me off, going 65. I'm obviously slam on the brakes. I was speeding. Yes, it is what I do. But slam on the brakes, and then she proceeds to turn the wipers on and the windshield wiper fluid, and it's like spritting my car. You know how you drive behind someone and they spray the windshield fluid? Well, anyway, so I'm like, great. And I'm heated a little bit now because, I'm sitting behind someone slow. My daughter's in the back screaming her bloody head off. So finally the lady cuts in front of the next person, goes off to the second lane, and I go past her. I didn't give her the bird, nothing. I was like, all right, I just got to get home. She then goes behind me and kind of like tailgating me a little bit, whatever. And she's matching my speed about 80. So she got 65, then goes over and then goes 80. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I
wasn't my
spray
mom,
her.
was it?
No.
Okay, good.
So I pull her move and I gave her a little bit of spritz with the windshield wiper fluid. And I immediately see hands go up and she's angry and she's losing it. So I do it again. I did it a second time.
Wow.
And she's furious. She's like going all batshit. You can see her like moving in the thing. Finally, I hit her a third time with it, and she just pulls over.
Wow.
Oh man! But
Some would say you're the dick.
Yes, some would say I'm the dick. And I tell my brother this, Kevin, and he's laughing. So
That's pretty great, though.
Just funny.
And I got
all right,
called
boys.
a F&A hole for just driving.
Really? What'd you do?
The other day on Saturday. Saturday, I'm going to work. Sorry to flood this podcast with nonsensical stories. I'm going to. First of all, I'm half asleep. It's 5:50 in the morning. I pull out of my complex. There's nobody on the road. It's a one-lane road. I'm driving down the road. I'm just driving, coasting, because I'm like sleeping basically. And the lane splits into two lanes, and I pull over and I stay in the one lane, and I'm still not paying attention at this point. And all of a sudden, from the side of me, I just hear a whole mess of yelling. My windows are up. And like my music's on, so it just sounds like yelling, mumbling stuff. I look over. There's guys like leaning out. This guy, first of all, some construction company, or I already don't remember the name of it, which I guess I probably should have. Anyway, to give him lousy review. The guy's leaning out his window, screaming at me, and all I heard is,
Nice.
"You're an effing a-hole."
Huh.
And I'm looking at him as he's calling me an effing a-hole, and I didn't know how to react because
It was too early.
I'm sleeping, and I have no idea what the heck I just did because I was literally just driving, and I didn't even notice any other cars. There wasn't an opportunity for me to cut anybody off because I was just coasting. And the first thing I could think of was, why?
Yep.
And he gave me this like facial expression, like, I should know why. And he's still just staring at me. And I just like the next thing I thought of, I was just like, you know what, I don't care. And we just went about our day. And that's how my morning started. I have no idea what made this guy so angry at me. Some might say it's the Penguins magnet on the back of my car.
Could have been.
Could have been.
Maybe the guy really likes declawing cats, and I have a no
Wow, that's
declaw
another
cat
true one.
magnet on the back of my car. Or maybe the guy didn't like my "Don't Eat the Homie" sticker. I don't know, but he didn't like me, and I don't know why.
My guess is
I hope he's all right.
Sticker.
I hope he's okay. I do.
Yeah, sometimes those people just need to.
6 in the morning.
Well,
6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Why?
my wife.
I have one,
obviously.
but I don't
I
want
asked
to tell
him. He couldn't even
anybody
answer me.
so-
I asked him why, and he couldn't even answer.
My
Just
wife
gave me a look
always.
like, you know why. I didn't.
you know. No, my wife always tells me, obviously, road rage. I shouldn't give people the finger and all that stuff. And I do occasionally because people can be idiots on the road, and I want to show them in some regard how much of an idiot they are. So
How I feel about them and their existence.
exactly. So she always she tells me, then she sends me this article about how in like LA, this road rager basically shot a 6-year-old kid because he just hated the lady that was driving and
Just
opened
shot
fire
into
to
the car.
Yeah. So, and then they of course have they talk about his sister talking about it, her brother, and how he's like, "Mommy, I have a hole in my stomach," and you're like, "Oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever had to read." So fantastic stuff.
People are.
Yeah, so we are obviously starting with stories because I did not do my homework this week. So we're just going off the cuff today.
Let's not talk about hockey the entire time.
We already lost a bunch
Should we
of
talk about these
listeners,
pretzels?
You're making me
go
thirsty.
ahead. What's wrong with the pretzels?
No, it's just Rolled Gold pretzel sticks.
All right.
The rats love them.
Okay.
I feed them as their treat. They love them. I
Yeah,
know you were
rats.
all interested in that.
Yeah.
I have rats?
No,
I
I
have
said,
5
yeah,
rats.
rats like... No. Yeah, rats like pretzels?
I don't know what's going on with Mim right now. If you guys want it,
What's
we
wrong
need
with
like
Mim?
live action cam on cats. She's checking something
trying
out
to
in the
find
kitchen.
something.
Might be an ant or something.
Yeah,
All right.
Mac
with the
hates bugs.
chlorophyll.
Minnie loves bugs. Anyways, all right, so let's get to what's on tap for today's episode. Here's our weekly snapshot. We have conference finals set up. On the west side, well, I guess, would you count it the west? I don't know. What do they call this? I didn't even see. What do they call
It's
the
just the
actual
semifinals.
conference?
It's
All right.
not. It's
Oh,
not.
no,
There's no conference champion this year for the first
All
time.
right, that's
like,
right. All
ever.
right, fine.
So it's
In the
just
semis,
semifinals.
out west/north, you got Montreal and Vegas, and then on the east/south, you have Tampa, and you got the lovely Islanders, which the name Party in the Barn, because they were going bonkers at Nassau Coliseum in their win against the lovely and terrible Boston Bruins.
There's an
I
ant.
figured we go through the stories or through the series and just kind of go over what we got in terms of teams and them ending their season. So we'll start with the Islanders Bruins. I know that Bruins had some injuries, without Carlo, without a couple guys, but you could see the Islanders style play just really warmed down, and I didn't think that they would beat Boston, but they did. And I will say luck, and I don't.
Have.
Well, I say luck, and I know you create your own luck in hockey. Puck luck sometimes does happen, but the way you do play, I do really think it signifies, at least how a team can move forward. But I mean, you look at the Penguins series versus the Islanders, and Penguins held play for the most part. I felt the Bruins series that Bruins almost did the same thing. It wasn't as much as the Penguins. If the Penguins had a goalie, Islanders already had a series. If the Bruins had some injury luck, they're still in it, and I think the Islanders are out. So, and we'll talk about Islanders Tampa at, in a little bit, but it's kind of continuing where they're getting lucky on some things, and it's amazing that the team can have this kind of a run. I don't know what you guys think about Boston in terms of what's going to happen for them over the offseason with Tuukka, with Krejci, with Taylor Hall. Why don't you guys give me what you guys think?
I think Boston. You're seeing a lot. Although Boston still has. I honestly can't tell you what Boston still. Maybe it's system of. These guys have played under multiple great coaches. Most of the guys, especially the top line there with Marchand, Bergeron, and Pastrnak. Well, not so much Pastrnak.
Do you think Cassidy's a great coach? Sorry,
I think he's a very good coach.
He won Coach of the Year, didn't he?
Yes,
What did he do when Jack Adams last year? I don't know if he won Jack Adams last year.
No, I don't think he did.
They won the Presidents last year. That's why I think maybe he did, or whatever. It doesn't matter. He's a very good coach, and they've played under good coaching. They've had basically the same system for years and years and years since Bergeron started in this league, and they started having the success all the way back to basically when they won the cup in 2010. So you're talking about like 10, 11 years of basically the same exact system with good pieces that's just worked and worked. Obviously, they've aged. Zdeno Chara is gone. But you're seeing, I think, very similar situations in Boston, Pittsburgh, Washington. And those were like the perennial Eastern Conference teams that who are you picking to come out of the East this year? It's one of those three for how many years now? Some people thought Philadelphia this year, but whatever. It's basically been those three, and they're reaching a point where their core players are getting older. And a series like this against a team like the Islanders, you can kind of see where that is affected. Although I will say the top line was amazing. They didn't get a whole lot of depth scoring from anywhere else, but I don't know where Boston's going to go. Tuukka Rask, obviously he announced he's having surgery. He's probably going to miss the start of the season.
I think he's going to retire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to come back at all.
Well, our resident Boston Bruins fan Justin Sylvia is watching and listening. Get rid of Tuukka. I think he's gone. Jeremy Swayman looked great, and I think if they're going to go with the tandem of Swayman and Vladar next season, not bad and cheap, obviously. So then you can spend some money. Do you bring back Krejci? They're probably going to bring back Taylor Hall, hopefully at a much more discounted price, maybe in like the $5 million range.
I think he's going to want a lot of money.
Maybe, but I also think that he wants to stay in Boston and he wants to stay on a team that's going to win. But also, there were all those rumors about him, Colorado being interested, and
he signed with Buffalo.
Did Colorado offer him anything, or did they offer him something? Did they lowball him, or he was basically like, I want money before success, I'm going to Buffalo because I know they're going to be awful. I'm going to make all this money, and I know they're going to trade me at the trade deadline to a team that's going to compete. That's what I think his plan was the entire time, but that's just me speculating. I'm not going to put words in his mouth. But I do think he played well with Boston. I do think Boston's going to try and keep him, but obviously he's going to have to take a cut. He's not making $8 million. He's just not going to do it.
I think he's going to get at least over 6. I think it's going to be closer to 7. I think long term.
Possible. I think it would be dumb to pay him that much for long term.
Absolutely.
He played well, but he's not. He's still like at this point. I think he's a good second line forward, which isn't bad. But you don't play good second line forwards. $7 million a season, right? No. Is he going to score 30 plus? Probably not, right? And you want the $7 million player to be scoring you about 30 goals. He could, at least. Yeah. I don't know, but I think Boston. They're still going to be around. They're still going to be good. They're like I said. They're well coached. Their top line still plays very, very well. And Bergeron still has a lot left in the tank. I know he's often injured, but I think they'll still be good. They're going to make some moves. They're going to have some. I think they're going to have some cap space. Yeah, they're going to look different. Tuukka, I just can't imagine him coming back, but he also doesn't want to play for anybody else but Boston. But they're gonna reach a point where it's gonna be like, all right, Tuukka, you either retire or you bite the bullet and you sign 2-3 year contract cheaper somewhere else.
Yep.
And I don't know if he wants to do that. I don't think he's had a lot of personal stuff going back to last year. So
yeah. No,
his family's very important to him, and I don't blame him for thinking family first. So we'll see, but I don't see Tuukka Rask being back in Boston next season.
I don't think they're a top team in the league anymore. They're still a good team, but I just don't think they're one of the best teams in the league anymore. I think other teams have overtaken them.
That's what
Tampa
you're seeing.
Has Colorado now is starting to come.
You're seeing the aging of
Carolina
these teams.
Looks really good,
and they're in the decline. These teams are in the decline currently.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they can't compete.
No, they're still good teams, but they're not the top teams that they used to be. Like Boston was a top team every year, one of the top 2 or 3 teams every year. Now, I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, that range now. Not top 3. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're going to look different next year, and I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be as good.
Realigning the divisions the way that it should be, and normal.
Are we going back to our regular divisions next season?
I'm supposed to. Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to. Obviously, nothing's set in stone for next season, but I know they want to do a full season, and they want to get back to, all depending on obviously Canada. I know Canada liked obviously they love the North Division.
They got somebody in the Final Four.
So. We'll see. I mean, obviously, we'll see in the offseason what they do. But I know that what they want is for everything to just go back to normal next season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they have not come out with what they want to do in terms of
divisions
yet. I haven't seen anything, but you obviously you have Boston go back to the Atlantic, and then you have Carolina and Columbus coming back. Buffalo also going back to the Atlantic. It'll be a interesting. I don't think there's much of a change.
In the league. They're also playing everybody in the league. You're not just playing those teams like
6 or 7 teams.
I thought Boston would be better just because they, when you're thinking about teams who do well in the playoffs, it's always the teams that are on some sort of hot ride going into the playoffs. And Boston, out of anybody, I mean, obviously, Colorado ended really well, and Vegas also, but Boston, out of all of them, nobody wanted to play Boston, and obviously, they won the first round. They beat the Capitals, and you saw that. But they talk about the Islanders' system that they just wear teams down. It's a bizarre system where I've never seen like their strategies to wear teams down. But it's like Homer fighting. Who did he fight?
Tatum.
Yeah, Dredrick Tatum, where he just and his boxing carear where he just basically
Tatum. Everyone
gets
before that
pummeled until the other guy tires out and he just like nudges them over. Mm-hmm. But it's essentially how the games have gone, because the Islanders have been, with the exception of maybe 3 games at this point, they played one game against Pittsburgh where they played their system perfectly and they controlled that game. In Boston, maybe another game or so. They played the system very well in Game 1 against Tampa, although
it was
yes, I'll give that.
Tampa
I'll give it to Tampa too, but the Tampa played into the Islanders system.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was their downfall. But, 3 games, maybe 4 out of the games they played where they've played better than the other team. And here they are. They're just going through the series, and they're getting pummeled in games and winning.
Tampa,
that game, Game 5, was it Game 5 against Boston where they were outshot like 46-19 and won 5-3 or 5-4, whatever it was? That is insane.
The game yesterday
should never happen.
Quickly,
not in the playoffs.
Tampa played one of the worst games I've ever seen them play, and the score was 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a team plays the worst game they ever played. Do you think they're getting blown out like 6-0?
That second goal was weak too.
Oh my God, it was awful. But yeah, we'll talk about it later. But yes, there was everything about the game was awful, and it was only 2-1.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I just think Boston does need to get younger. They need to retool. I know that you have Pasternak, you have Marchand and Bergeron are both later stages of their hockey career. They're both in their 30s. Bergeron
they should not
older.
pull a Chicago, though.
No.
I think Chicago is basically giving these other franchises an example of what not to do, because you still have very good players on your team that can win you crucial games. And if they pull a Chicago where they basically just like, we're rebuild, and now they're going to waste, Patrick Kane,
Taves,
Jonathan Taves didn't even play.
Duncan Keith.
But, Patrick Kane can still win now. And obviously Chicago's a far away from competing. And they shouldn't just gut and just like trade away your assets to try and get picks and to try and build up again. You have to figure out an in-between where you can still draft well and still compete to give these guys who have won you championships already a chance to keep winning.
Agreed.
And I think that's what I think you're right. I think Boston does, and Pittsburgh and Washington, they need to get younger and they need to figure out where their future is going to be after these guys are done. But they can't throw in the towel on these guys. They need to be able to, and the players are responsible too. The ones that are due for contracts, like for instance Ovi, he's due for a contract, right? He needs to take a significant pay cut. If he truly wants to stay with Washington to be a successful winning team, he needs to take a pay cut, because at his age now, they need to bring in a younger team, faster team, because Washington is dreadfully slow. And he needs to, players like that need to have an example of taking less money in this flat cap right now to try and not rebuild the team, but, restructure it in a way where they can be successful and a chance now, but not have, when everybody retires, they're just toast and they have a rebuild for 7 years or whatever, however long it takes.
Yeah.
And Jeff Zawacki is listening.
Yeah, I'll say Zawacki texted Schwim or messaged Schwim.
Lucky for Zawacki, Schwim doesn't pay attention.
It's true.
Boston out. Let's get to Carolina, Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Tampa winning. Was it 6, right? Or was it 7?
No, 5.
6. Oh, that's
5.
right. 5
games.
You hear Dougie Hamilton come out and say that they lost to a team that
$18 million.
He's not wrong. I mean, he's bitter, but he's also not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. But I mean, and I said it, Tampa obviously very clearly skirting what was the rules, and good for them. I mean, that's not going to happen next year. They didn't break the rule.
They didn't break the rules. And to quote Tommy Bowers, who said this, because I don't want to rip off what he said. Tampa Bay did not break the rules. The rules are broken.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're going to. Yeah, I mean, they did it right. And it's not like it was necessarily.
They make the damn playoffs without arguably their best player.
But, obviously, yes. But still. You would risk that. You still have the right roster to make the playoffs, especially in that division.
Yeah. So Carolina, obviously,
just trying to make
a very strong team. Yes, a very strong team that looks like they have a goaltender in Nedeljkovic, and I think maybe if they can get he's 1A, maybe if they have a 1B, someone better than Mrazek.
I think they should have stuck with Ned.
They should have. Yeah, that was
absolutely.
I guess you got to do. You're down 2-0 and going back to Tampa, so I get it. So I wouldn't have done it.
I think they have the goaltender. Who knows what's going to happen with Hamilton? I know, he's talked about being dealt/leaving, so we'll see what happens there. Their forward group, I do think they need another scorer. They have that top line. Was it the SAT line, right? They have the SAT line, which is one of the best in hockey, but I think they need that secondary score. I know Trocheck did pretty well in the playoffs, and I know they have some other guys that are key to their what's his name? Nate Cash. They have guys like that can play. But I think they need one more guy.
Neckass.
Yeah, Neckass. That was Tom, not me.
I know.
But what do you guys think about Carolina? You think they're a couple pieces away, or you think they're going to do something stupid?
So this was remember we gave our predictions. I think it was even our predictions before the season even started. It's like every year it's like this is the year for Carolina, and then the next year comes and it's like, well, this is the year for Carolina, and it's just like when does that end? When do we stop saying that? I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, obviously there's like little pieces. You can make the roster better. You can make any roster better, but they are. I mean, you look at them; they're a solid team. They have one of the best defensive cores in the league. Their goaltending was always suspect, but I think they have a legitimate number one in Nedeljkovic. And they have a solid top six, and even bottom six is pretty good. I think it was unfortunate that they had to play Tampa in the second round because they probably would have done better in a different format, probably. But they reached Tampa in the conference finals. They're going to get smoked again. I don't know. It's just, and they have a great coach. So it's like, well, okay, well, so what is it that? I mean, yeah, I guess you could say, well, maybe this is the year, maybe this is the year. But I mean, they're not like Toronto, right? Where Toronto just apocalyptically screws up in the playoffs, but they still lose in the playoffs consistently.
Yeah,
and it's always like they're going to beat this team. They're going to beat this team.
Then once they get to the playoffs, they're not that same team that they were in the regular season. You think basing them off the regular season, they look really good, and you think they'd be a good team in the playoffs, and they're not for whatever reason.
So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know exactly. I don't think they're going to change much.
That's what I was going to say. I don't think they have to. They can add a couple things here and there, but I don't think they can.
Yeah, if there's a way to improve the roster, and
they'll do it.
Maybe find some better, a better bottom six, to support the top six, and still getting experience because they're still relatively young. Keep Dougie Hamilton number one.
Yeah, well, he's like Tom said, he got permission to seek sign and trades.
That has to be Dougie Hamilton has to be their number one priority. You bring Dougie Hamilton back, and that's probably the biggest acquisition you get in this offseason.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know, add some pieces. They're going to be there again next year. They're probably just, flat out just not good enough. And they probably never will be. They're not going to be better than Tampa Bay. Although, going into next season, you're going to have a very different looking Tampa Bay team next season.
Oh, yeah.
But that can be for a different podcast. But, obviously we mentioned they're $18 million over the cap, so they're not going to be able to start the season that way. And, they're probably going to, in this offseason, talk about rules about fixing the cap rules to prevent something like this from happening. But, maybe next season they figure out a way because, Tampa Bay is not so loaded or, and then they can be, they're up there with, Florida looks just as good too. And they're up there with, they're probably a little better than Florida. But I don't think there's any team in the East, when you look at all the teams that are playing right now, and I know they're down 1-0 to the Islanders. And even if the Islanders win the series, I don't think the Islanders are a better team than Tampa.
No,
and in the East, I don't think there's not a better roster in the East that's better than Tampa Bay's right now. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily maybe the Islanders' system is Tampa Bay's kryptonite, and that's what ends up winning the series for the Islanders if they win it. But I mean, I didn't see anybody beating Tampa, so it's not like a complete failure. It would have been nice if they lasted more than 5 games, but
yeah,
those first 2 games they were both 2-1, and they could have gone either way. That second game, Nedeljkovic lets up that awful goal, where I think he was just going down and trying to hook the post, but just kept sliding, and Gaudreau just put it on net and it went right in. That was a game-winning goal. Those 2 games could have gone either way. After that is when Tampa kind of, obviously, I mean, they lost the game when they went to Mrazek, but then after that, Tampa took control of the series, and they already had those 2 wins in Carolina, which really helped them out. 2 2-1 wins.
Yeah,
Vasilevsky played awesome. The rest of the team, not so much. So, I mean, those 2 games could have gone either way, and he showed up in those games. He looked really good last night, and not so good.
That's the thing. It's even last night he only let in 2.
He played good, but that second goal was awful.
Garbage. But he still only let in 2, and you would expect
again.
You would expect Tampa to score at least 2.
Was awful, so bad.
Yep, and then so we talked about Winnipeg, Montreal. Montreal, we knew they were going to beat them after Winnipeg, the Scheifele whole incident. But you have Winnipeg, out. They need more talent in general, especially on defense.
Yeah,
they
were lucky that they were
forwards
in the North.
Yeah.
They're another team not good in the playoffs.
They wouldn't have made the playoffs if there was a regular divisions. So Winnipeg needs to fix just about everything except for Hellebuck.
Would they have made the play? I thought they would have been, because they would have been the.
Well, we're talking about I'm talking about if they were regular division, not just based on their point total compared to other.
That normal.
It doesn't matter. I'm talking about it's irrelevant what their point total was, because they're a bad enough team that if they were playing the rest of the league, they would have lost more games than they won, and they would not have made the playoffs.
No, I'm just saying, who's normally in the Pacific? It's them. It's Calgary. It's Vancouver. It's all the
Pacific
California
or
teams. Are they Central, or I thought they were Pacific? I don't
Calgary.
have my thing up anymore. It's all gone. They're not. I don't know. We'll have to look. Whatever. Tom,
I guess
guy in the chair, give us some stuff here.
Stat boy.
It's been so long, I don't even remember.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I don't remember the leagues, the divisions anymore. It's crazy. So Winnipeg, like I said, they have some forward depth. They have something decent there. They need defense badly, and just acquiring more talent. So they'll eventually get some guys. But that Scheifele, Wheeler, Kyle Connor is a great line. Ehlers on the other side. Ehlers, they have some guys.
Get his head
you'd
out
think
of his ass.
Dubois was supposed to be.
He was unbelievable in the playoffs the year before, and I thought that was like his coming out party, and it just went to hell.
Laid an egg. Yeah, and he even said he was bad too. All right,
Central.
lastly.
See? I got it
was
right.
Central?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, I'd have to look at who's in the Central, but maybe they don't make it then. All right,
Colorado.
Avs, Knights. Knights taking in 6. Colorado, you couldn't even they can't do anything big with this team. I don't think they should make a move just to make a move. They just need to keep the roster, get Grubauer re-signed.
Mm-hmm.
I really do think that they're going to get Bowen Byram next year, who's another stud defenseman. Just stay the course. I just hope I hope Stack doesn't do anything dumb and trade away someone that doesn't need to be traded. They need Kadri back, and not being a jackass.
Yeah, right. That would help.
Re-sign
Well,
Ryan
sort of.
Graves, because I do think he's a good player for them.
I do too.
they're super talented, and they should be winning in the playoffs. We talked about this being Colorado's year. And it's kind of like Hurricanes, right? Next year maybe should be the year.
Mm-hmm.
But they were, I think, the most talented team in the playoffs, and that's including Tampa. I do think that they were that talented. They just, Vegas beat them fair and square, and Vegas just
I don't
after
think
those
they're more
two
talented
games.
than Tampa.
I think they do, but we could talk about
They
it.
might be at one point, but I don't think so.
After those first two games, they looked like they were unstoppable. We're like,
No,
oh,
just
crap.
the first one. The second one, Vegas was better. Vegas,
Yeah, it was
in
close,
fact, Vegas
yeah.
should have won game 2, and then they won the next 4. It's another unfortunate. It's another unfortunate
I
case
thought
where
that
they
would be
played.
like an unbelievable series, and
It
was good.
It was still,
but
yeah. I mean, it was still good,
I
and
thought
it was
it
still
would be-
close.
I was
and you
hoping
had
it
a
was
couple
gonna be like
overtime games,
a lot of
or
back and
one
forth.
overtime game or something. But no, it's another unfortunate case where they played Vegas in the second round, and maybe they just needed to get some momentum going because these guys are very young and pretty inexperienced. I mean, last year they lost to Dallas, right? Was it the first round?
Who, Colorado?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Dallas beat Vegas in the conference
I
final.
think they beat Vegas and Colorado last.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they beat Vegas in the conference final.
Yeah.
But it's just like they're getting experience, but not a whole lot of experience because they're out pretty quick.
Yeah.
All things considered, but they steamrolled. They won their first 6 playoff games, and then lost 4 consecutive to get eliminated. But I agree. Don't change anything.
Sakic's not stupid.
I don't think he will. No, I don't think he will. Maybe improve the fourth line. I don't know. That's it.
It's another one. He'll do like little tweaks here and there, and
They have a lot of cap space though.
and yeah,
which
they
is
got
crazy.
room to play with and give hopefully
I think-
Grubauer some money to come back because he's
Yeah.
at UFA.
I think they're
right?
going to have to.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to make some moves on the blue line, right? Because they have Taves. I think they can't keep all their
There's some
obviously McCarr's
restricteds.
Doesn't count, but yeah, I think they.
I have to look
they're
at the
talking
roster
about
and see
maybe
who
Sam
Seattle's going to
Girard.
take from them.
I think they're talking
and who
about
they have to
Girard
protect.
maybe having to be either exposed or traded because you have Taves, you have Graves, you have there are a couple other guys, but anyways, they are too good of a team to just blow it up and do something else. And speaking of, they just actually came out with the MVP list right a couple days ago, and it was Matthews, it was McDavid, and it was McKinnon, the M&M boys.
Yeah.
So
M&Ms.
good crop
No
of
fault on McKinnon,
candidates.
by the way. He was unbelievable in these playoffs.
Yeah, he's not going to sniff it though for the MVP.
I also think Landeskog needs to be resigned, right? So you're bringing him
Yeah,
back. But I
Landeskog.
honestly think if they're going to make a big change, if they're going to make a big drastic change, give McKinnon the C.
Yeah,
That'd be the only thing
like
I would
that.
say.
yeah. I mean, I don't think Landeskog's a bad captain. It's just
I don't think so either. But I mean,
McKinnon is clearly their
McKinnon
heart and soul.
is the
He's
Avalanche.
Avalanche, yeah.
Yeah, he's their heart
And
and soul.
he's already talking like a captain. They treat him like the captain. I mean, how often do you see they're going for an interview with McKinnon? They're not going for an interview with Landeskog. Like the press is going right to McKinnon, not Landeskog. And McKinnon's already talking, and obviously I don't want to. Well, yeah, I do want to toot Sidney Crosby's horn, but they're very good friends, and the way that he speaks very much like Sidney Crosby, and the way that he says that he wants to continue to make less than what he would get at market value, so that Colorado can continue to have the best team that they possibly can, because he knows he didn't make so much money. Well, he's still making a lot. I mean, $6 million for what he should be making. $6 million is nothing. So but he's basically making, if he were a free agent, he's basically making half of what he's worth. If you take McDavid's contract as an example, but so he'll make a little more, obviously, or maybe he'll go with Sidney Crosby and just take an $8.7 million contract.
Decided to show up finally.
So
yeah, you asked for it and you got it.
I mean, I'm going to say it.
Later.
I know you said you toot their horn. I'm going to say I think that Crosby got screwed in the MVP convo.
I think
he should have been one of
I
the
didn't
three.
expect him to win it, but he absolutely should have been nominated.
I think he should have been. Yeah, and I know
absolutely should have been nominated.
Then you asked,
and
Mike
Mike
who
Sullivan too
included.
for the Jack Adams. Mike Sullivan wasn't even nominated for the friggin' Jack Adams,
I didn't see.
which is
who was
also
nominated for
ridiculous
Jack
because it
Adams.
always has to go to the coach
It was Brindamore
with the biggest turnaround,
Yeah,
right?
it was Brindamore, Quinville, and Minnesota's coach.
But why Brindamore?
Oh,
like, what did
They were the
Carolina
top
do?
team in the league, I guess.
They weren't though. They didn't. Did they win?
Well,
did they
won
win the
at the top.
division?
Yeah, they won the
They
division.
did win the division.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they won the division.
Yep.
I mean, who are you
So
going
the
to boot out
Penguins.
though? McDavid, right? Matthews with the 41 goals. Almost a goal a game at 52 games, 41 goals. And then McKinnon, 48 games. He had 65 points. I think he was tied for second in points per game. Yeah, it's tough. But yeah, I think that this was
trying to
Crosby's best year.
discredit those guys, but
No,
I think
know
Crosby
tough.
literally, almost not literally, in the figurative sense, literally carried that team on his back, and they won the division, which is not with a Colorado caliber team. If you're gonna, I think both of them were slighted. I'm not saying that they both should have won it, but they absolutely should have been recognized. And Sidney Crosby was nominated for the Ted Lindsay, which I think those 3 Hart Trophy finalists probably are more deserving of the Ted Lindsay than they are the Hart.
Yeah. Nah, I think that you're absolutely right. I think that he should have been at least, even just make it a 4-man race then, because I think he was that vital to the team.
It's like it always has to go to, except for a couple times, obviously, it always has to go to the Art Ross winner and the Rocket Richard winner. They always have to be one of the nominees for the Hart Trophy. Always.
Yeah. Nah,
and then McKinnon. You could eliminate McKinnon from there. I'm not saying that you should, and that McKinnon isn't worthy of being recognized as an MVP. But you could take McKinnon out of there. He's not going to win it, obviously. Everybody knows that. No. McDavid's going to win it, so it doesn't really matter. But I think the recognition for what Crosby did this season, and he was snubbed.
All right, quickly, just before we get to the 2 finals matchups, Columbus hired a head coach, Brad Larson, he's going to be their new leader. They stayed in-house. He was assistant coach under Tortorella last year, signed a 3-year deal, 8th coach in franchise history. A pretty good assistant coach. We'll see how he does.
Interesting.
I know he's primarily coaching the team's power play, which I didn't think Columbus's power play was very good, but we'll see how he does. And then my boys, the Rangers, getting Gerard Gallant, 4-year deal. Sources said, obviously he just won the gold in the IHF World Championship, which his team went down.
You should be happy. The Rangers are going to be really good next year.
Yeah, for 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know about 2 years.
3.
First year, definitely.
Was it 2? No, 2. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, maybe they'll go
2 and a little bit.
2 and a little bit. He wins the IHF with Team Canada, which should have been the best team anyway. So, they go down 0-3. I don't really care about that so much. But you do see his track record, Vegas, Florida, and not so much Columbus. But, he did pretty well with both those teams. I'm okay with it. I thought that if you were going to get rid of Quinn, you had to go with experience. I didn't think Hartley or some of the other guys, maybe Tocchet, I didn't really think that they were the best choices. I really wanted to see if Brind'Amour was going to leave. Yeah, I really want to see if Brind'Amour was going to leave, but apparently that's not going to happen. So,
well, you also
I think that was the only reason they held out.
You can't wait and see.
Exactly. That's what happened with somewhere else, and then you're screwed.
That's what happened with Pittsburgh, because Jim Rutherford wanted. I cannot remember his name, but he ended up going to and being fired in Vancouver. That's who Rutherford wanted. He waited, and then he ended up with Mike Johnston, and the rest is history.
You know what? I was actually really hoping for it too, and I didn't think this. Well,
Mike
I
Johnston?
thought this possibly could happen. No. Mike Sullivan, because there were talks about him possibly getting let go because he's not a Hextall guy. He's not a Burke guy. Maybe that would be the move that Pittsburgh would get rid of him, and I would love to have Mike Sullivan back in the Rangers.
Mike
great
Sullivan's
coach,
an excellent coach.
Yeah. So that was one of the guys I was hoping for, but that obviously didn't happen either. All right.
Either. Yep.
No, not at all. He's going to stay there, and All right, so let's get to it. Let's do Vegas and Montreal first. Game 1 tonight at 9 p.m.
Almost
the previews. Almost time. Scoring leaders for the first round: William Karlsson, 4 goals, 7 assists for Vegas. Montreal, first 2 rounds, I should say. Montreal, Tyler Toffoli, 4 goals, 6 assists. Goaltenders: Vegas, Fleury with 12 games played, 191 goals against, 923 save percentage. Price, 11 games, 197 goals against, 935 save percentage. I mean, that's
crazy.
Shoving it down my throat that he's doing so well. I got Vegas in 6. I can't see Montreal continue to go through this. Yeah, I can't see the
It's got to end at some point, right?
Yeah. I mean, who would have predicted them to do this? I mean, I know we didn't take them at all. Toronto's supposed to blow them away with their offense, and then Winnipeg was supposed to shut them down with their netminder. Obviously, neither of those two things happen. Price versus Fleury is fun. Whoever wins this, I think, probably is the Canadian goalie in the Olympics.
Could be.
I don't think it'll be as multiple games. I just think
Price.
Pietrangelo does well. I think Stahl, starts to tail off a little bit for Montreal. I really want a Tampa Vegas final because I just think it'd be fun to watch. I'm going.
Hopefully, we can still get that.
Vegas in 6.
So, the closest thing Montreal has played to a Vegas team is Toronto, and we all know what Toronto does. So, can you compare them? I don't think so at all. And I think Toronto, having been placed in that division, if they were in the division with Colorado and Vegas, probably would have gotten smoked a whole mess of times. So, Winnipeg's really bad. They're okay, right? They're an okay team, and Montreal
they're not a Vegas team.
Swept them. So Montreal has never seen a team like Vegas. Vegas has never seen a team like no, maybe they have because their division, the bottom dwellers were also pretty awful.
Pretty bad, yeah.
So, Carey Price obviously is the X factor. He's basically going to have to steal every game. But, I'll quote Dave Molinari, even though he was talking about a different series last year. But I'm taking Vegas in 3.5.
3.5. I like it.
There's no way. There's such a Montreal is.
We said that.
Not a good team
about Toronto, and we said it about Winnipeg. Both of them. That's the amazing. They're just playing with house money.
I thought Winnipeg had a little more because of how they swept Edmonton, but then they lost Scheifele in Game 1, and then they were just a train wreck.
They're a different team, after they lost them.
And Toronto is just like I can't even base that as them being like giant killers because they beat Toronto because Toronto just does Toronto things. It's just inevitable for something like that situation to happen, and we all knew it was going to happen, even though we didn't want to say it because it just can't. Toronto's got to win because they have this roster, and they just have to do it. They can't be awful forever. Eventually, the streak is going to end, right? But obviously, it kept going. But I can't, man. I can't in good conscience say, and I don't want to just say it just to say it because it was like, oh, you never know, and maybe Montreal will beat them because that's how things go. But if based on how the playoffs have gone, based on the teams, to make an accurate prediction and not just saying it to say it, I mean, Vegas has to smoke them.
Yeah. If I was a betting man, and I am, I would put money on Vegas to beat Montreal.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely. They're completely outmatched.
You can't even break down the series because they're so outmatched.
They're so far from each other.
Besides goaltending is pretty even.
Goaltending is even. The rest of the matchup, their power play, their special teams, 5-on-5 is Vegas has. There's no way. It's the end of the road for Montreal. There's no way they're going to beat them.
It just seems like it's just such a cake.
The only way here's the only way is Vegas has a slew of injuries out of nowhere or something. Then maybe Montreal beats them, but I mean,
and this series is going to be weird because Montreal is only allowing a couple thousand fans in. Vegas is sold out.
Yeah,
so Vegas legitimately has home ice advantage.
Yeah,
whereas Montreal is going to be there's some fans being sort of loud, but is it really home ice?
Yeah.
I mean, the travel is going to be different because obviously they're almost at different ends of the continent, but that could play a factor in all this because, neither team is. Well, actually, Montreal's used to traveling, so
we're going to see.
Maybe it benefits. Maybe that benefits
tonight.
Montreal. I don't know.
Vegas is going to set a precedent in Game 1 tonight, and then we're going to be like, okay.
I think the games are going to be closer than they should be, but I just don't.
I don't know. I think Vegas is too freaking good.
Yeah. They just handled Colorado. Colorado is
Vegas should have all the
monster.
confidence in the world, and then like the only thing is like don't take Montreal too lightly. Just keep that confidence, keep your foot down on the pedal, and just blow this team out of the water like you should. Does Montreal steal a game? Maybe they steal a game, but I don't know. I'm not going to go. What did you say, Dean? Vegas in 6?
Yeah, I said
and you
6.
said 4.
I mean,
I said 3.5.
3.5.
I'm starting to think more
I'm gonna go
like
5.
but
I'm gonna go 5.
I'll give it 6 just because I said it. But all right,
I'll go 5. There'll be a game that'll go to overtime, and Montreal somehow win a game in overtime. That'll be it. That'll be their only win.
Let's go to the perplexing series. Tampa, New York Islanders. First round series. Tampa, Kucherov, 6 goals, 13 assists, 19 points. Pajot, 3 goals, 10 assists. They're the leaders in the clubhouse. Goaltending leaders, Vasi, 11 games played, 224 goals against, 934 save percentage. Varlamov, 7
Can I add
games,
something?
262,
Can I
and
just add something right before?
Against. Yep.
Going into this Vegas series, Montreal has won 7 straight games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, they are. They're hot.
7 straight. That's crazy.
Vegas is going for 5 in a row, right? Or 4 in a row?
5.
5?
And no one expects them. No one expects them to do anything. Every pundit is saying
5.
that they're going to get slaughtered. So Vegas. I mean, Montreal could just go in and not give a hoot.
Well, that's
not give a crap.
That's basically how their entire playoffs has been, because nobody expects them to do a damn thing.
No,
that benefits Montreal, but it doesn't even matter at this. But like, I don't think that X factor even makes a difference in the series. But you never effing know.
The first 2 series for Lightning, they both played offensive, teams. Now they face, a defensive team in the Islanders.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are on the wrong side of possession numbers through the first 2 rounds. I think at even strength. So obviously, special teams will be the big one, especially Tampa. If the Bolts keep scoring the power play, they're not going to lose. Blake Coleman goes off in this series. I'm going to say that he's going to do really well. Get maybe a shorthanded, a couple tallies, even strength.
Okay, I'd like to see it.
I'm taking Lightning in 6, despite already losing game 1.
Yeah, I originally was going to say 6 before the series started. I'm probably still leaning towards 6, although I think it could go 7. But I do think Tampa's gonna figure this out. They're also just too good, and you saw how. So the Islanders have the benefit also of playing very similar teams to Tampa, where Tampa all season has not played a team at all like the Islanders, because that division is pretty wide open. There's no like strict shutdown defensive team out there, whereas the Islanders played, Boston not as much, but Pittsburgh is like kind of a poor man's Tampa. Obviously, Tampa is a lot deeper and more skilled overall, but same style, real fast, possession, shots. But Tampa has Vasilevsky, so that's what I'm saying. That's where I'm saying, like, if you take the Pittsburgh, granted it was Series 1, and the Islanders they're going to improve as the playoffs go on. But if you put Vasilevsky in for Jari, that series is over in 5 games.
5 games
for Pittsburgh, probably. And so I think Tampa will kind of figure this system out. I think John Cooper is too good of a coach to be out-coached by Barry Trotz. You kind of saw that last year in the bubble, too.
I don't think he's ever been nominated.
He's been nominated.
Has he been nominated for coach of the year?
Probably.
I don't know.
At least nominated.
When they won the...
I know he's never won it. I don't know. Has he ever been nominated?
When they won the presidents? When they won the presidents?
He had to have been nominated when the presidents.
Was he nominated?
I think he won.
Was he? No, I don't think he won coach of the year.
Anyway, I'll stick with...
Stat boy.
I'll stick with 6. Tampa. They'll figure it out, I think.
So give us your prediction. Well, you don't have to give us a prediction. We know you're going to say Tampa. But give us your analysis on Game 1.
All right, so Game 1, right out of the gates, actually, Tampa looked good. And I'm like, oh, this could be another one of those series where the other team is dominating and the Islanders hang in there and eventually, I guess, wear the team down. But after the first, I think it was 5 to 7 minutes, Tampa just absolutely shit the bed.
Well, those the power plays, I think.
Oh yeah, they had like 4 power plays to Tampa's none. That's why I thought
2 real quick also.
Oh yeah, right off the
because Tampa was out shooting them 7-1.
Yeah, right in the beginning. They look good too. I'm like, okay, they got all the
power
pressure.
plays for the Islanders.
All right, quickly.
Islanders
Jack Adams
power plays.
Cooper's been a Jack Adams finalist twice, 2013-14 and 2018-19.
He hasn't won though, right?
Nope,
never
won.
won. Yeah.
President's Trophy. He was the coach in the All-Star game twice. Prince of Wales Trophy 3 times. Calder
It's
Cup.
also funny that you never really see
Championship.
Stanley Cup winning coaches win the Jack Adams
No.
or teams with the best records. It's
Well, 'cause
always
usually
going.
the team with the best record is not winning the Stanley Cup.
Well, that yes, but also it always goes to the team like the coach from Minnesota, the team that
That you
has
didn't
the biggest
expect,
turnaround.
Yeah.
And obviously that's all due to coaching, right?
Yeah.
That'll be
And
the
not
Rangers
even
next
like,
year.
they're just better. They're not winning divisions. They make the playoffs maybe, or usually. But anyway, we won't get into that because I'm already.
So anyway, about that game one, it was probably one of the worst games I've ever seen Tampa play. In the faceoff circle, I think they got beat like 61-39 or something in the faceoffs percentage.
Yeah, Cooper said their minds weren't there.
No. And you could tell they had like a Guinness Book of World Record amount of turnovers.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to set some sort of record.
Too.
Oh my God. Everybody.
It was a machine.
Everybody had, it was just turnover, most of them unforced turnovers too, where they could have just made like a simple play and they didn't. So
That sounds familiar.
it was really hard to watch that game yesterday. And one of the things I was thinking of, like, I'm not saying the refs have it out for Tampa, but like a way to make the series more even is to not give Tampa as many power play opportunities.
Yeah.
And they only got one power play and they scored on it at the end of the game. That was the only time the entire game where Tampa actually had pressure was in the last like 50 seconds of the game when it was already too little too late.
Yeah.
Two things while they're on my mind.
They really cared.
Bruce Cassidy, the dumbest comment he made was
he called them the
New York
Saints or whatever.
Saints. That was the dumbest thing he
got
ever could
fined
have done.
like
He
a
gave them a
maximum
nickname.
amount
Yeah,
for it.
but he gave them a nickname, and then they're to whoop you because now no one's going to help you. And then lastly, I just saw that Pacioretty, obviously going back to Montreal, he was there obviously 10 years, first time going back there. And then the Misfits line for Vegas, I know I said Marchessault, or I said Carlson was the top point getter, but that Marchessault, Carlson, Riley Smith line has been awesome this whole time. Sorry, go
They're
back to
usually
Tampa.
really solid.
Their playoff player, Marchessault, he's got to be up there in their. I think he has the most goals for them right now.
7 and 4
history,
something like that.
Oh, I
He's
think in the history.
know,
Sorry.
No, this season, but no, he does have a lot of goals for them. But anyway, yeah. So that game was a complete disaster, and again, it was only a 2-1 game. They didn't even get like blown out or anything. But Tampa's an experienced team. They have a lot of veteran players in there who've been through this before, and they usually bounce back after a game, like a performance like that in a game like that. So I expect game 2 to be much different. And
Me too.
in Tampa's favor. Hopefully they'll get more than one friggin' power play, but I don't want to rely only on Tampa's power play. I want them to play better 5-on-5, which they didn't look good in that first. Everything about their game didn't really look good. Vasi looked good except for that second goal he let up, which he normally 99 out of 100 times or 100 out of 100 times he saves that, but whatever. That Pollock guy's got a bomb of a shot, but still, that's a shot you have to save.
Through him, yeah.
You have to save it.
Through you.
So, and especially him, he's one of, if not the best goalie in the world. He should make that save. But anyway, so I expect a much better performance in game 2. I expect a different outcome, obviously, because I'm a Tampa fan.
Coliseum's going to be tough.
But
it's a tough atmosphere.
Going back, I don't mind Tampa on the road. I like Tampa's game. I like Tampa's game better on the road than at home. I think they're a much better road team than they are a home team. So I want them to go over to Nassau tied at 1, and I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay there.
Could it be the third straight series where the Islanders go down 2-1 and then win the damn series?
I hope not. I don't know. I'm taking this one game at a time. Game 2, I think they'll be much better. I think it'll be a much better game for them.
Yes, Point's doing very well. Obviously, 9 goals, 4 assists, 12 games. Yep. Palmieri is leading it for the Islanders with 7 goals in 13 games. Killorn having a really good playoffs,
good
13 points, 12 games.
Yep.
I think as long as you guys are
friggin' Palat has completely disappeared.
Palat, yeah.
It was him like Kucherov and Point where everybody was cashing in.
Blue line.
And now like Palat is just like, I've noticed that he's like completely disappeared. But
you're talking about Montreal.
If they can get him going again, that would really help.
Yeah, Sherratt, Edmondson, and Weber.
Montreal's blue line.
Yeah, they're all
6'4", 2
2 teens.
230.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that good old American boy right there.
Yeah, patches. It's going to be a fun series. Both of these guys, as much as I say that, Islanders
There
aren't as
could
good
be
and
an even
Montreal, I
more
think it's
fun
gonna be
series. There
in the
could be,
finals.
and there
we
needs to
need
be.
Vegas and Tampa. We need that, and
The
NHL
sport
needs that.
it. The sport
Yeah.
needs it. Yes, it does.
Yeah,
Because that is firepower.
Yeah.
Well, I love Vegas, and Vegas has a lot. I mean, the only thing that would have probably more firepower would be Colorado and Tampa.
Yeah.
Although I think Vegas is a better overall team structurally at this moment. But skill-wise, that Cup final. So this is like the next best thing.
Well, also another one.
And I think the league needs it because it's going to have the ratings are going to be through the roof.
They could promote the hell out of that final. They could make that into a damn show.
Yeah, if Edmonton was good enough to be here, that would be another thing because you get your star player in the finals.
Garden Coliseum.
Olive Garden.
Oh, Tom. Oh man. Yeah, I like what's going to happen in the series. I really want, this is the one time where you want refs to clearly go out and make the best teams win this because the NHL needs that so bad. And I don't care. Islanders fans can be upset. Montreal fans can be upset. I know Montreal, you have great ratings from Canada. Who gives a shit? You need the two best teams playing in the Cup finals so that the NHL gets a little bit of a kick jump start going into ESPN next year and all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's all I got for that. We'll do some trivia and then unless you guys got something else to talk about quickly.
I feel like I did. I don't remember what I was going to say. Go Tampa, go Vegas, please.
Yes, please.
Yes. Just talking to Sam. All right, so let's go to a couple trivia. In the early 1990s, a record was set for most shorthanded goals in a game by one player. How many and who?
How many?
Jesus.
Yep. We actually talked about this one. I didn't realize I said this one already.
I remember.
Yep. I know.
3.
That's why I said it again. Yep, 3 is the right answer. Who is it?
Early 90s.
We talked about this player because there were 2 things that he did, and I said both were awesome. Which one would you rather do? 3 shorthanded goals or a +9?
Or +9.
Was it Mario? Was it? Did he have
Nope.
He had shorthanded goals,
but I don't know if he
ever had 3.
But it was not Mario.
+9.
Yep.
I don't recall.
A short guy.
Theo Fleury.
Yep. He had 3 shorthanded goals, and he was also a +9 in one game. His 3 shorthanded goals he had in 2 periods. That's crazy. To whom was the first ever Stanley Cup awarded to?
Like what player or
what
the team?
No, what team? 1893 was the year. The first ever Stanley Cup.
Toronto?
No.
Montreal.
Ottawa.
It is Montreal, but not the Canadiens. It was
Maroons.
Montreal Amateur Athletic Association team. The Montreal Amateur Athletic team won the Cup in 1893. Apparently, Ray Ferraro's nickname was Chicken Parm because he bought the set chicken parm sandwiches during a playoff game. That's really a dumb question. Why was no Stanley Cup awarded in 1919?
The Spanish flu.
Which
wasn't actually the Spanish flu.
No, it was just the flu epidemic which killed Montreal's Joe Hall, which caused the final cup final to be canceled. This is a record. In the entire 1993 playoffs, how many games went to overtime?
Jeez.
93?
Yeah.
Jesus.
19.
17.
No, way more.
22.
Way more.
Way more. Jesus.
1982.
28 games. Montreal won the Cup that season. They defeated the LA Kings in 5 games, 4 of which went to overtime. All right. Sam, you got anything, bud, before we head out?
TJ Shelley.
Oh, really?
Anything to add?
That was it.
Man,
Mango
he
smoothie.
did not want to speak to you.
3.75, and Fuzzy Baby Ducks, I'll give a 4.
To be completely honest, I don't think I taste much difference in aging this beer, even though I was told to by the guy who sold it to me. But it's good. 4.
I'm going to go 4 also. Peach a la mode. 4.
Nice. Schwim, take her home.
Dean, you think you're so high and mighty just because you never got caught driving without any pants.
I hear him coming closer to me. I know you got an issue. There's a name.